Welcome to Fan Fave with Katrina. Fan Fave with Katrina. It's time to talk pop culture.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Katrina, your favorite pop culture fangirl, and do y'all hear the bells ringing or see the snow glistening? It's holiday season, and I'm so excited. It's my favorite time of the year. December is actually my favorite month of the year, and I mean, there's all these cheery holidays, so like, how could it not be? And I guess if you don't know, my birthday's also in December, so yeah, I'm just constantly in a fantastic mood all month. But because of that, today we're going to be talking all about my favorite pop culture holiday things. This is a Fan Fave Holiday Special, because 'tis the season. We have a lot to talk about today, so we're going to do a quick pop recap to discuss all the stories, news, and trending topics that I have not been able to stop talking about since the last time I spoke to you all. Starting off in music, the first thing that I want to talk about is Spotify Wrapped. I actually don't have Spotify. I actually use Tidal, but I will be sharing what my Tidal most listened to is because I did receive my Tidal 2023 Rewind. I will give a disclaimer though, I don't like Tidal and their analytics because I think they're incorrect. They actually do like monthly playlists for us, and it's like your monthly most listened playlist. And every single month, I feel like there's songs that creep into there that I never have listened to ever. It's like if you're listening to like one album, for example, like say Fine Line by Harry Styles, and like Golden is my most listened to song for real, they'll put like Adore You. And I don't know why. Like I could like not listen to Adore You for a whole month and they'll put Adore You. Even if I've listened to Golden 100 times that month, they won't put it in, if you know what I mean. And so I don't think that their analytics are that correct. But I'm still going to share with you all what my Tidal 2023 Rewind is. First up in my top artist, number one is Taylor Swift. Okay, that's correct. They got me. That's totally correct. And in second place, Harry Styles. Very true. Third place, the Jonas Brothers. That's also pretty accurate. It's the fourth and fifth places that I'm not so sure about. And with fourth place, a lot of my like friends and family that I've told and showed this to, they're like, yeah, you totally like listen to a lot of this artist a lot at the beginning of the year. And I'm like, I don't know, like it was kind of like a phase last year. But my fourth artist was Elvis Presley, and I did listen to a lot of Elvis after watching the Elvis movie. I really got like into a lot of his music, and I just don't think I did as much this year because I think like some of his music was like in my top for last year, but this year like I just wasn't expecting that. And then fifth place was One Direction, which I like full transparency. Like, I don't listen to One Direction that much anymore. So I think what happened here is one, Tidal analytics suck. And then two, I think that I listened to Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, and the Jonas Brothers so much that the others are like kind of all like evened out and like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. And so from 4 to like 10, those are probably like very, very close spots together and not that competitive. So Elvis and One Direction just happened to take those slots. That's my theory. Now, in top songs, number one is Cardigan by Taylor Swift. I feel like that's valid. Like, I love Cardigan. It's probably my favorite Taylor song. I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to say, like, what my favorite Taylor song is, but that's the one that I always can play and listen to, and I have yet to get tired of it. I can listen to it a million times, like, if I need to be calmed down, like, if I want to relax, if I'm trying to go to sleep, like, Cardigan is always the answer. Now, in second place here, they say that my second most listened to song this year was The Story by Brandy Carlisle. I guess. I mean, I listened to this song a lot. I actually had not really known any Brandy Carlisle songs until December of last year. After I saw her perform on SNL, she actually performed The Story despite it being like 10 years old. She just decided to perform it that night. And so that was the first time that I heard it live, and I like instantly fell in love with the song. And I listened to it a lot, I'd say like in the first half of the year. So I'm curious if Tidal, like Spotify, has like a cutoff because I feel like the second half of the year I hadn't listened to it as much, but I guess it was enough to make it into the top. Third place, Waffle House by the Jonas Brothers. I can't even like explain like that's totally correct. That's probably true. Fourth place, I have no clue how this song got in here. Music for a Sushi Restaurant by Harry Styles. I mean, I like this song a lot, but like to be in the top 5, I just don't believe that. And then in fifth place, I don't believe this either, El Tango de Roxanne from Moulin Rouge. Because, like, to be honest, like, I'll listen to, like, the live recordings on YouTube and stuff over the recording track. Like, I don't think I listen to the recording that often. Now, along with this little top 5 that they gave me, they did also give me, like, a full 2023 rewind playlist, and that has some other songs that I just kind of like wanted to shout out that I think I listen to a lot. One is Sure Thing by Miguel. It was pretty big on TikTok, and I had never known it before TikTok, and I really like fell in love with the song. Another is Look at Us Now, Honeycomb by Daisy Jones and the Six. Love that show. Karma, Taylor Swift. Oh, these are two staples that are always here. Take Me to Church by Hozier and Sweater Weather by The Neighborhood. And then we have Drive Me Crazy by Lil Yachty. Oh, I love that song. So many of these songs, though, I like found from SNL and then like started listening to it a lot. Like that was one of them. Roxanne, The Real Roxanne by The Police. This is where, okay, this right here is where the analytics are wrong. It says that Rocks Off by the Rolling Stones is one of my most listened to songs. Don't ask me a single line from that song because I've never heard it before. So I don't know how it got on there because the Rolling Stones song that I actually listened to, probably enough to be in like my top 5 this year, is actually Shine a Light on You. And so that's what I mean by when I say like I think their analytics are wrong. And Rocks Off is on the same album as Shine a Light on You, so I feel like that's where they got it from. But still, like, I don't listen to Rocks Off. How is this in my top 10? But that's what I mean. Like, it's so random. A lot of Taylor Swift as I continue to scroll down this playlist. So obviously that's why she was my top listened to artist. But yeah, that's a little look inside of my title rewind for this year. As you see, I'm very frustrated with analytics though. So if you think I should switch to Spotify, let me know in the new year. Maybe I will. Now, I also did receive a Spotify Wrapped for Fan Fave, the podcast, and I saw really great growth this year, so I want to say thank you all for continuing to listen to me, continuing to support. And I just wanted to shout out that our top episode of the year was the concert comeback, Unraveling the State of Live Music in Summer 2023. And actually, this was before the cutoff because I actually think that our SNL episodes received the most listens all year, but those came out after Spotify stopped counting like the counts for their rap. So I have to shout out that episode as well, that how to get tickets to SNL. And then Everybody Sings, our Disney Channel episode, that was number 3. Maybe I have to talk about Disney Channel more on this podcast because I love doing that. If you haven't listened to any of those episodes yet, make sure you go back and listen because they're in our top for a reason. Everybody loves them, so check them out. Now, I also went to 2 concerts since we last spoke. First off, back in November, I saw Diana Ross in concert. You guys, she's a legend, and I almost didn't go to this show. I actually got tickets for my parents to go see her in concert down at MGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland. And I wasn't going to go. I was just going to like send them off as a surprise because she's like a legend and they've seen like a lot of the big like legendary artists live, but she was the one that neither of them had seen before. And so they really wanted to go. And so I got to like treat them and send them off to go see the show. But then I was like, you know what? Like, I should go too. Like, this is Diana Ross. Like, I definitely should go. Like, I know a lot of her songs. I know, like, the Supremes. I did, like, a Motown musical in high school. And so I remember, like, learning all of her songs and stuff for it. And so I was like, yeah, like, this would be really fun. And it was fantastic. I mean, she is so talented. Her vocals, like, she's definitely, like, older in age, but her vocals still sound so smooth and strong and powerful. And she just put on such a great show. There were so many fun hits that she performed too, like I'm Coming Out. And she also did some very fun covers as well. I actually posted up a few videos of her from the concert on social media, so check it out on TikTok and Instagram at Fan Fave Media. The other concert that I just had a chance to go to is the Jonas Brothers. I saw the Jonas Brothers at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. for the tour, 5 albums, one night. It was so much fun, you guys. I think that was maybe my favorite Jonas Brothers concert that I've ever been to. And it's so funny for me to say that because I feel like I've seen the Jonas Brothers so many times. That was actually technically my second Jonas Brothers concert because like the first times that I first saw them at the White House in 2007 and then again in 2008. And I guess you can count those as like concerts, but it was part of like the Easter egg roll. And so they only sung like a handful of songs. It wasn't like a full like produced concert for them, you know? And then after that, like I saw Joe Jonas with DNCE. And then like I finally got the chance to go to a real tour of theirs, their Happiness Begins tour back in 2019. So that was the first Jonas Brothers tour that I technically went to. And then after that, I still continued to see them. I saw them at Jingle Ball, which technically isn't a Jonas Brothers concert, even though they performed. And then I saw them at SNL. And then I also got to meet them at an album signing. But all of those are like still technically like not concerts for specifically them. So this was like my second concert for specifically the Jonas Brothers, I guess you could say. And like it did not disappoint. I keep calling it like an Eras tour. I know like tons of artists have done like the Eras tour format before, but like it's so like fresh on my mind. And like they basically sang through like 5 of their different albums, kind of taking you on a journey of their career. And you guys, like it was so much fun because like I had certain albums that like I grew up listening to, like specifically A Little Bit Longer. That's always been like one of my favorites. And when I saw them like on the full tour back in 2019, the Happiness Begins tour, that just wasn't like a lot of emphasis on singing some of their older songs. And so getting to hear those songs again live was just like very, very special. I also really love their newest album. And so being able to hear those songs live, like they're so fun. I mean, come on, you guys. If you've seen Vacation Eyes live, you know what I mean. Like absolutely, absolutely fantastic. But yeah, the set list is so much fun. I mean, it's almost 3 hours long. They do give you an intermission, but like I remember like when the intermission happened, I was like, yeah, I need it because I was jumping, I was dancing, I was screaming, like a high energy. I was burnt out by the intermission. I actually like changed clothes midway through because I was hot. But yeah, like the set list, 10 out of 10. It's so much fun the way that they set it up, and it's just like all of these medleys also put together. But then they also surprised us and sang songs from Camp Rock, which they haven't been doing like on every date. It's like a very rare thing, rarer than when Harry Styles pulls out Medicine. It's like very rare. Joe sang Gotta Find You, and then Nick sang Introducing Me. I never in my life would have thought that I would hear those songs live. And hearing them live was just so crazy because it's like, wow, like I remember being like 8 years old in my bedroom, like singing along to this on the TV. And now, like, I'm hearing it again as a 22-year-old, like, full grown adult at a concert, hearing it live. Like, just a truly surreal experience. They also sang Like It's Christmas, their Christmas song, and because they kind of like promoted it beforehand, I like got like a Christmas t-shirt, but I put like my meet and greet picture from the Happiness Begins tour on this shirt and like put Santa hats on us, and so that was really fun, like to get to dress up like that. I posted pictures on social media. I also posted a vlog on social media from this concert talking more about my experience, so make sure you're on social media at Fan Fave Media on TikTok and Instagram. I posted it up, so go watch. And yeah, like that concert was so much fun. Now they are coming up on 20 years of being the Jonas Brothers, which that actually kind of sounds weird to say because I mean, it's longer than that, they're brothers, but like the band is what I mean. And so that's in 2025. And I think that's just so crazy. Like they've been doing this for a long time. And then like I think about it, like I just said, like I saw them in concert in like what, 2007. So this is 2023. I've known they exist for like 16 years. That's crazy. But yeah, had a fantastic time seeing them in concert. I'm like fully on like sad that it's over. Like cannot wait for the chance to see them again. And Nick teased that they're gonna probably do something to celebrate 20 years. So best believe I'm gonna be there for that. Already can't wait. Now, in theater, I went up to New York to see MJ on Broadway, Michael Jackson the musical, and this was actually my second time seeing this show, but it was so much fun. I mean, like, I was truly impressed once again, because the first time that I saw it was actually last February, so it's been like a long time, almost 2 years, and there was so much that I don't remember. And then I also went with a friend who's seen it a few times more recently, and so she was kind of telling me like things to look out for, and I was able to catch like a lot of really cool creative things, like how the costuming is in the second act thriller scene, and just like really taking it all in. I mean, that is just like a very fun show. I feel like I don't typically enjoy autobiographical musicals, but the way that they do this one where it's like he's preparing for a tour and they kind of like do almost like flashbacks into the past of his life. That was like really well done in my opinion. And then they kind of have this other storyline going through where like you're like learning about how he feels about fame and like his creative process for the tour. Like I like that it wasn't just like a straightforward bio. And I think that made it all the more engaging. And man, I'm just telling you guys, the dancing is like absolutely incredible. Like truly mind blowing. And I know it's like Broadway, so like the caliber is like very, very high. but it's just like so exhilarating and so exciting, like watching like the full ensemble on stage performing these songs. I actually also did an MJ musical in high school, and so like I know a lot of the songs, like I've had a history of performing some of them, and so getting to watch like this musical is just like such a great experience. I'll probably go catch it again when it comes down to DC on the tour. In the film and television world, first TV, I started this new show called The Curse, which is starring Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder. And while watching that, I mean, that's good, but that's not what I'm talking about. While I was watching that, I discovered Nathan Fielder, and I knew who he was because people talk about it all the time. I'm into comedy, I see his name everywhere, but I never like watched any of his stuff. And so I was like, let me sit down and try another one of his shows because people kept comparing The Curse to another one of his shows. And so I sat down and started watching Nathan For You. You guys, if you haven't seen this show, it's one of the funniest shows that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, basically, and I think this is real, Nathan, he went to college for business. And so he's like, I went to business school, I graduated, and he's doing like this thing where he goes around LA and he helps out small businesses by telling them that he's like this marketing expert because he went to college for it. And he comes up with like these really stupid yet smart ideas for businesses, but it's like all pranks. Like he's the only person that's like really in on it, so like the business owners, everybody that's like pulling in, like the customers, when he's trying out this stuff, they all don't know that it's a comedy show. They think that he's filming for like a business documentary series or something like that. And so it's so funny. But like it's like the way that he thinks outside of the box for these ideas, it's like, how could you have thought of this? Like, there was one company that he helped out. It was like a pizza company. And he was like, to get more people to buy your pizzas, you should run a promotion where you'll say you'll guarantee delivering pizza in 8 minutes or else they can get a free pizza. And the owner of the pizza restaurant is like, that's a stupid idea. Like, there's no way that we can guarantee pizza delivery in 8 minutes. Like, that's not enough time. And Nathan is like, exactly. But the catch is, you don't tell them how big of the pizza it is. It's a tiny pizza that's like 1 inch, 1 inch large, like very, very small. And so people will order this pizza knowing for sure they'll get a free pizza. And then they get the free pizza and it's like literally a bite of pizza. And they actually do it and they take it to people and then they get mad. But it's so funny. Like, it's like stupid, like outside of the box things that you would never have thought of. And he does it with a straight face. Like, for me, he's so funny because he does it and like he doesn't break character at all. Like, he does these things as if it's like completely normal. And just seeing everyone else's reactions is just like, there's no way this is real. But it is. And so I love the show so much. I already watched like the full season 1. I'm on season 2 already. Now, a movie I want to talk about is Leo. This is that, gosh, I watched the movie. I don't even know. He's a lizard or like a gecko. A lizard, I think, that is played by Adam Sandler on Netflix called Leo. And I checked this out. It's an animation. And I actually really, really liked it. But I have to say, nobody warned me that this was a musical. I didn't have any problem with it being a musical, but I was just a little bit taken aback because I was like, whoa, they're singing. And then they just kept singing. But this was a really funny movie. I mean, the plot was pretty simple. I think like the middle kind of dragged a little bit, but I really liked it. He's basically like a lizard or gecko or whatever he is. And he's in a classroom, like he's like a classroom pet for like I think second graders or something like that, not the kindergartners. Because if you watch the movie, you'll see like the way that they animate the kindergartners is like different than the way that they animate the other characters. And it's so funny to me, like whenever kindergartner was on the screen, like I would bust out laughing. I don't know why. That was just hilarious to me. But he's this lizard and he realizes that lizards only live for 70 years. And he's like 69. So he's like, oh, I have to like fulfill my life. And so he's actually like helping the kids because he can talk, obviously, talking pet movie. And he like each week goes home with a kid, like so that they can like learn how to handle a pet lizard, I guess. And or is he an iguana? Oh gosh, don't listen to me. Whatever he is, they take him home and they each get to like take him home, but then he gets to learn about that kid and he like teaches them something new about themselves. The kids kind of like grow throughout the whole school year, like learning more about themselves. It's a really cute movie. I really like it. I don't want to talk too much about it and spoil it for you all, but I really liked that movie. It was really nice. And then in other random pop culture news, I went to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And if you listened to our last episode, it was all about the parade, so you know how much I love the parade. And this was my first time going in person. Technically my third time going, but the other two times I was in the parade. So this was my first time being able to watch the parade. And so me and my mom went. We got like a really great spot down on Central Park South, and we could see all the balloons. They were almost like too close to us, and all of the floats. It was so cool, like all of the bands. I think my favorite balloons that I saw, Leo. I hadn't even seen a Leo movie then, but the Leo balloon is just so cute. And then I also liked the Snoopy balloon, and then I loved being able to see the Pikachu and Bluey balloons because those are the two balloons that I was on in the parade. And this year I got to like see them, which was so cool. All of like the college and high school bands were really great, but I have to shout out the HBCU, Alabama A&M, who opened the parade. They were fantastic. And then we had all of these really cool musicians and stars on the different floats. I was really shocked to see that Shucked, the cast of Shucked the musical, was on a float. I was not expecting that. I knew they were going to the parade, but I thought they were going to like perform on the star and I wouldn't see them. But to see them on the float, I was like so excited because I love that show. I really love that musical. And then they had a lot of like really cool R&B artists like Belle Biv DeVoe and Brandy, and so that was really cool to see. And then also Jimmy Fallon was there on a float, which was another person that I was not expecting to see in the parade. So that was very random as well. And I think my favorite float, speaking of floats, I'd have to shout out the Disney Cruise float. And even though that was in the parade like previous years before, like seeing it up close is so cute, especially because like I'm getting ready for a Disney trip and I love Disney so much. And like seeing all of the princesses and the princes and the characters, Mickey and Minnie, like waving at me, it felt like I was at Magic Kingdom for a moment. It was just like beautiful. Like I am a Disney adult and I do not have any shame about it. I also did think that the Wonka float was very cute. But my problem with it was very weird that there was nobody on it. Like they could have at least got like some Oompa Loompas, but it was very like unsettling because I think it had like Wonka's coat just sitting there and it was playing music, but it was like, what is happening on here? And then also they had a balloon for Poe from Kung Fu Panda, and that was like one of my favorite animated movies growing up. So that was really cool to see like as a balloon. That was the first year that they did that balloon. And so I loved that. And Sesame Street was there. I'm just like shouting out all of these random things that I saw at the parade like a little kid. But yeah, it was so cool. And then obviously, like I said, like it opens with a turkey for Thanksgiving and then it closes with Santa Claus, and it's like the best thing ever. But like seeing that moment on TV where like Santa comes down the parade route on TV, it's like being there in person. It felt like so surreal. Like, wow, like this is real. Like I'm really here watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in person. It was just a fantastic experience. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about in the pop recap is a very random pop culture thing. But did you guys see that Barbie and American Girl are collaborating? American Girl announced that they are doing a Barbie themed doll. So this doll is going to be the size of an American Girl, but it's designed to look like Barbie. Crossover event of the century, right? And I really, really wanted this doll. But then when I looked it up, it's $309. And it's like, what happened to the ones that were only $110 when I was a kid? But this is like a special edition doll, and it's actually sold out. So if you wanted it, sorry, it's gone. But it seems so cool, like a collector's item. And I guess I should touch on this because for those that don't know, Mattel does own American Girl as well as Barbie. So that's kind of like why it's able to happen. It's not like some crazy thing, but it's still really cool though. Now let's get into the topic of today: holiday movies and music, and maybe some shows and a little more. Consider this a look into my personal playlist. Let's get started. Beginning in music, I'm going to be taking you through two playlists that I have for Christmas. The first one is a real Christmas playlist, so I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite Christmas songs. First up, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays by NSYNC, a classic. I think that's top 3 for me. All I Want for Christmas Is You is probably number 1 by Mariah Carey. And if you didn't know, I had the chance to see Mariah Carey. She does like annual Christmas concerts, and I went to the one last year at Madison Square Garden for my birthday, and it was so much fun. She sang so many Christmas songs, but then she also sang a lot of her hits too. And then she closed with All I Want for Christmas Is You. It was like the big finale number. And then they ended up taping that concert for a special on CBS. But you can actually check out some videos because I posted it on social media. But yeah, All I Want for Christmas Is You is like a permanent staple, a permanent classic. But I'd say that a more modern one is Underneath the Tree by Kelly Clarkson. And I love that song. I mean, that is like a bop. Like that's just such a great song. So if you don't have that on your playlist, you need to add it. I'm going to throw some random songs that you probably don't have on your playlist out there. First up, Christmas Soul by Ross Lynch from Austin and Ally. Tell me that was not a good song and tell me that was not a good Christmas episode. You cannot. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Another one I have is Don't Dream It's Over by Susan Boyle. Now, I think she was like a contestant or a winner even on like American Idol or America's Got Talent. But the reason that I know this is because my grandma was a big fan and she's obsessed with like those shows to be honest. But like back then when that album came out, she was like a big fan of her. And so I got like my family, because I was a kid, we got her CD for Christmas. And so whenever I would hang out with my grandma, she would play that CD in the car. And so like that's like the version of that song that I know. It's like Susan Boyle and all of like that Christmas EP. Like I love that. She's like an opera singer. It's good though. Christmas Tree Farm by Taylor Swift. 100% a hit. Absolutely great. Very catchy too. And I guess another more modern one is Like It's Christmas by the Jonas Brothers, which I just saw live again. So maybe I'll post a video of them performing that song on social media. Now, I'm curious what you guys think about like when an artist does like a full-length Christmas album. I feel like only some people can like really pull it off and they have to have like a good background in their music already, I feel like. But there are two that I really, really love. And one is Why Don't We, which like, haha, do you know who Why Don't We is? They were a boy band from like 2015, I want to say, to like last year, the year before last. They had like bad management issues, and so they've broken up now. But I was a big Why Don't We fan in like 2016, 2017, 2018. And so, anyways, I think in 2017 is when this EP came out. They had a Christmas EP, and it's so good. It's called A Why Don't We Christmas. And so some of the songs on there are covers, obviously, like Silent Night, but there are some that are their original songs, like Hey Good Lookin' and Kiss You This Christmas. I love Kiss You This Christmas. That is such a good song. I'm telling you, like, if you don't know any Why Don't We songs, at least give their Christmas EP a try because it's so good. Now, a lot of people say that Mariah Carey is the queen of Christmas, and yeah, she probably is. I mean, I have to give it to her. She definitely is. But there's another artist that constantly got compared to Mariah Carey, especially at the beginning of her career, and I think that she's the princess of Christmas. And I'm talking about Ariana Grande. Like, hear me out. You can disagree, but I personally find that my favorite Ariana Grande songs are her Christmas songs. Like, I like her Christmas stuff more than I like her regular stuff. And I mean, like, they're just like very good songs to me, like Santa Tell Me. I love Snow in California. And then she had that Christmas and Chill EP as well. And that one has some really good ones on there, like December. Oh my goodness. Winter Things. Great EP. So, like, I want actually to see Ariana release more Christmas music because, like, she just kills it. Like, I love her Christmas music so, so, so much. Shouting out some more songs, we have Mistletoe by Justin Bieber. In fact, Justin Bieber also has a very good slate of Christmas songs. I mean, Drummer Boy, come on now. If you can do the rap, let me know. I want to hear it because I have still not gotten this rap down. And I mean, this song has been out since 2011. It's just a lot. It's Busta Rhymes. But Drummer Boy is such a great one. Now I'm going to get very, very niche, at least just with like this one song. I have to say that I really, really love this song. And I mean, it's a classic song, so you know it, but you're not going to know what I'm going to say. So I know you've heard of like We Are the World and like all of these other charity songs that like big musicians come together and they do, right? And so, you know, they did one like Do They Know It's Christmas? Like that one, like back in the 80s or the 90s or whatever. But they did another one in 2014 for Band Aid 30. I think it was for like Ebola, raising money for Ebola. And that one is so good. Like, I mean, maybe it's because I like a lot of the artists in it, but for some reason, like, I'm just fixated on it and like I have to listen to it like That's like one of my top Christmas songs for whatever reason. Some of the artists in there, it's very British. Some of the artists are like One Direction, Ellie Goulding, Ed Sheeran, Coldplay. Like, it's very, very like British. I don't know how to explain it, but like, it's very good. That one is really nice. And then pulling out some other songs, like, I really like Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. This one is kind of a fake one, but Love Me Like You, the Christmas Mix by Little Mix. Love Me Like You is a song that they released like just normally. It's not a Christmas song at all, but then they added like bells to this version, and for some reason, like I like it a lot. Also, Carol of the Bells by Destiny's Child. And then I obviously like different like covers and stuff. I like Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, the Whitney Houston version. Do You Want to Build a Snowman by Frozen. The Christmas song, but the Jordan Fisher version. Christmas Without You by DMCE. Oh, if you know who Why Don't We is, you might know who In Real Life is. And so while I'm there, they have two. I'll Be Home for Christmas and Feel This Christmas. Both of those are on my playlist. And then for some more classics, I really like Happy Xmas by John Lennon. Obviously, Wham! And Last Christmas, The Blueprint, the original. Oh, this is a funny one on my list. Okay, this came out, I think, in 2020. It was just the craziest mashup ever, but the song is actually really catchy, and it's like outdated now, I guess. But it's called It Was a Masked Christmas. Okay, hear me out. Jimmy Fallon, Ariana Grande, Megan Thee Stallion. But it's so good. It really, really is. And then I really, really like Merry Christmas by Ed Sheeran and Elton John as well. But yeah, there's so many Christmas songs. I'm looking through my playlist. It's literally 62 tracks, and I'm pretty sure I'm still forgetting a lot of classics. But I want to hear from you. Let me know what your favorite Christmas song is. There's so many, whether it's a cover or if it's the original. Let me know. I want to hear from you. The other playlist that I'm going to talk about, it's much smaller, and to be honest, I haven't updated it, but I love listening to it still. It's songs that sound like Christmas songs, but they are not. So first on my list is Goodbyes by Post Malone and Young Thug. Okay, this song gives Christmas vibes. I don't know how to explain it, it just does. I think it's like the chord progression in like all of these songs, but it just gives Christmas, okay? The next song on my list is Bad Things by Machine Gun Kelly and Camila Cabello. This one gives Christmas, like, for many reasons. I think it has, like, a similar chord progression or, like, melody as a wedding song, actually. I can't think of the name of it, but, like, the one where they walk down the aisle. But then I also heard this song live at Jingle Ball in 2016, which was, like, during Christmas time. So, like, obviously I have, like, a connotation with that. Another song on here is River by Ben Platt. Is Ben Platt even the original for that? Let me look that up. Oh, it's a Christmas song. Wow, I've just had the realization that this song here, River, which I have the Ben Platt version, it's apparently originally sung by Joni Mitchell. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. It's actually a Christmas song. So, that does not count. I have to remove it and switch it over to the other playlist. Also on here, though, I have Song for No One by Shawn Mendes. And then lastly, POV by Our Christmas Princess, Ariana Grande. I definitely think I'm going to sit down and update this list, to be honest, because I love songs that like feel like Christmas, but then they're not actually Christmas songs. But yeah, I just love Christmas music, like all together. It's just so nice. I'll listen to it year round. Let me know what's on your Christmas playlist, though. I want to hear from you so I can make more additions to mine. Now, let's move on to movies. There are countless, countless, countless holiday movies. I know I can't talk about them all, but I did make a list of some of my favorites, and I'm going to share them with you. First off, let's start off with the ones that don't even really feel like Christmas movies. One is Gremlins. And this is actually like a movie that kind of gets caught between like being like something you watch during Halloween or something that you watch during like the Christmas season. But Gremlins is 100% a Christmas movie. Like, yes, it's a little bit creepy, but it takes place during Christmas and like it's directly connected to Christmas. I mean, like the characters talk about it regularly. I think like the gremlin was like a Christmas gift. And then there's like the whole story with like Santa and the chimney and all that dark stuff. But yeah, Gremlins is a Christmas movie. Now, another one, maybe it's just me, but While You Were Sleeping, I think that's one that like takes place during Christmas, but like I've never thought of it as a Christmas movie, but I definitely would put it on my list to like watch during this time. And I'll say While You Were Sleeping is actually probably one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. Like it's just such a good romantic movie. And like I don't watch like a lot of romantic movies, but this one is like top tier. If you haven't seen it, go watch it because this one is like really, really good. Another one on my list is Daddy's Home 2, the sequel. This takes place during Christmas time. This whole series, it's with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, if you haven't seen it. And the whole series is actually hilarious. I'm hoping they make a Daddy's Home 3 one day, but these movies are just really, really great, and this sequel is not a disappointment at all. And I'd say it really feels like a Christmas movie. I mean, it's a primary storyline in it. Some other movies that I have on my list, Bad Moms Christmas. And it's so funny because I actually like the Christmas one more than I like the original. I think that Bad Moms Christmas is actually like a lot funnier than the original Bad Moms. And then Happiest Season. This is such a good one. I love this movie. It's like a Hulu movie, but it has like Aubrey Plaza and Kristen Stewart and Mary Holland and Allison Brie. Like, it's a pretty big cast. And it's just really funny. Like, it's a comedy. Watch it. It's so good. It's pretty recent too. It came out like 3 years ago. I also really, really love like Christmas movies that are like families getting together and like they all have like overlapping storylines, like kind of crossing over. And like the peak is always like while they're sitting down at the dinner table. That's when like all of the conflict just like blows up, always. I love that style of movie, and I feel like a lot of like Black Christmas movies do this. And so some of my favorites are like This Christmas and Almost Christmas, which I actually watched that on Halloween night. My family was like, let's watch a Christmas movie instead. Like, it's already time for that. So I already saw Almost Christmas for this season, but I'll probably watch This Christmas. And another Black Christmas movie that's a staple in my household is The Preacher's Wife. That we watch on Christmas Day every single year. So if you haven't seen that one, I definitely recommend it. It might become a classic for your family too. Let's get into some silly ones now. I really like Disney Channel and Nickelodeon Christmas specials and Christmas movies. And so some that I have on my list here. First, this one is like just regular Disney. Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. I need to be clear, not Once Upon a Christmas. And I don't even have anything against that one, but Twice is the one that I had the DVD for and watched like growing up in elementary school. So that's the one that I have like a connection to. And so I love watching that one. It's a classic for me. Then we also have the SpongeBob SquarePants Christmas Who special. I love SpongeBob, and this Christmas special is hilarious. And I think they did like other Christmas specials, but this one is like the original one. It's like the blueprint. Like, this is the one that you go watch, not the others. You can watch the others, but this is like the one that you have to see first. Now, for some Disney Channel movies, The Ultimate Christmas Present is probably like my favorite classic Disney Channel Christmas thing, and it's actually probably a standout Disney Channel original movie in general. Like, I think that's just one of my favorites. It's really nice. It has Brenda Song in it. It's like they get a machine that can change the weather. I just think it's like a very creative concept, and the story is just very, very nice because they just wanted it to snow in California, you know what I mean? Bring back the Ariana Grande song. But that's a really good one. And then the other Disney Channel one, this one, iconic. Like, it's so good. Good Luck Charlie, It's Christmas. This is like probably one of the best, like, more, and I don't want to say modern because I guess like it's like the later Disney Channel, not the original Disney Channel that like is like early 2000s. But like it's like probably one of the best specials that Disney Channel did in the later years, or like the best like TV show to movie that they did in their later years. It's so good. And I'd say this is one that I like make sure that I watch every year. Like, I force myself to watch it every year. Sit down, watch Good Luck Charlie, It's Christmas. It's so good. And for some reason, like when I watch like Disney Channel stuff sometimes, I'll watch like old stuff for like the nostalgia, and I'll be like, oh wow, like yeah, this was for kids. But then other stuff I'm like, oh, like this still holds up. Like, I still enjoy watching it. And I'd say that Good Luck Charlie, It's Christmas is a good one to still watch. Now for Nickelodeon, I have Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh. This is so good. I mean, we love Drake and Josh. Drake and Josh is like one of their best shows of all time. and this movie is just as good. I don't want to like give anything away or spoil anything, and that's kind of like why I'm being vague with a lot of these movies. But this one is like if you like Jake and Josh and you like all the scenarios they get themselves into, this one you'll definitely love. Now I'm getting to the top of my Christmas list, but first I have to derail a little bit because this is a holiday episode. So we're not really just trying to talk about Christmas here, we're talking about everything. And so I have to shout out New Year's Eve. This is a film and it's like one of those big ensemble films, and it's actually all of these were done by the same guy, and he's done like a bunch of them and I love them all. He actually did Valentine's Day, and then he did Mother's Day, and then he did this one New Year's Eve. And this film, it has so many big names in it. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer, Zac Efron, Robert De Niro, Ashton Kutcher, Leah Michelle, Sarah Jessica Parker. Like, if you just look up the cast, it's like, it just keeps going on and on and on and on. And this is one where it's like all of these different storylines happening at once, and then they kind of like cross over. And I mean, if you look up this movie and you see that it has a very low Rotten Tomatoes score, ignore it. Just ignore it and go watch it because it is so good. And all of them are so good. So while you're at it, like, just check out the whole cinematic universe of Gary Marshall's holiday movies. Jumping back over into the Disney Channel realm, this is a very top one for me, and this is one that doesn't even like technically count, but I'm gonna count it anyways, is High School Musical. This is a New Year's movie, obviously, because Troy and Gabriella meet on New Year's at a New Year's party. So it is a New Year's movie. So it definitely counts. That's another big holiday movie for me. But now we're up to my top two Christmas movies. I guess like I didn't really rank the others, but these two are the top two Christmas movies of all time for me. And so it's like when somebody comes up to me and asks like, what's your favorite Christmas movies? Like these are the two that are always going to come out of my mouth. So that's why they're like my top two. So one is Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Not Home Alone 1. Home Alone 1 is fine. It's the classic. It's the original. It's the blueprint. But once you see Home Alone 2, you know Home Alone 2 is way better. It is absolutely way better. It's great. And so I would always watch that. Like, even if I just watched one, I'm going to sit down and watch Home Alone 2 and, like, go without watching Home Alone that season. That's fine because I care about Home Alone 2. And then my other movie is Elf, which actually turns 20 years old this year, which is like crazy. But Elf is so good with Will Ferrell. It's just like hilarious. I think this is my number one pick. It's so good. I'm pretty sure everybody has seen it. It's like an ultimate classic. But it's just like a very funny story all throughout. I mean, he's like a human that was raised by elves, and then he goes back into the real world to find his real dad. And so, yeah, it's just a really cute movie. I love it so much. Now, I forgot to mention a couple of honorable mentions. I really do like the classic animated movies like Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I think those are like the main two that I watch. But like also like the Grinch, but the animation Grinch. I don't really like the live action Grinch if I'm being like fully transparent. But the animated one is cool with me. Now, moving into television, I feel like there's not a lot of like holiday television shows, but there is one that I just kind of wanted to highlight really quickly, and that is Dash and Lily. And that is a Netflix show that came out, I want to say like in 2020 or 2021. It's based off of a book series, emphasis on series because there should have been multiple seasons of this show, but there wasn't. But Dash and Lily is like this really cute show. It's a rom-com, by the way. And it's like actually it takes place like kind of partially in the Strand bookstore in New York City. It's like a cute show for like people that love to read because like the whole storyline is like a scavenger hunt within the books of the bookstore. And like only somebody that reads would understand the clues. And that's why they were perfect for each other. But it's such a good show. I hate that they canceled it. I really love Dash and Lily. I might binge watch it again this year because I loved it so much. Now, staying in the television realm, I love holiday specials on shows. First off, shouting out like Saturday Night Live, obviously. SNL, they do like holiday specials really like all throughout December. Their episodes are like very like holiday themed, whether it be like Christmas or Hanukkah. And last year I went to all through December episodes, and they would play like Christmas music in between the breaks, which I loved. Some of the musical guests, like Lizzo, she performed Someday at Christmas, a cover song of that, and that was just like a beautiful performance. Like I think about that all the time, that performance. And then another thing is like how beautiful the studio is, like just watching it, whether you're there or watching it at home, like you can see like all of like the lights and the Christmas trees and the poinsettias. Like I just love seeing the studio all lit up like that. In general, I just love Christmas time because of how like everything in the world is just like decorated and lit up pretty. And so the SNL studio is like no different than that. I also really like sitcom holiday specials, but if I have to shout out one that's going to be on my playlist, it's my favorite show, How I Met Your Mother. I really love the Three Nights of Snow episode, and I don't even know if this counts as a Christmas episode, and they do have some really good, like, specific Christmas episodes. That's just, like, the first one that came to mind. It's just, like, about them getting, like, snowed in and, like, being in, like, these different scenarios in New York City and dealing with the snow, and so I really like that episode a lot. But if I am on this subject of How I Met Your Mother and Christmas episodes, I will have to share my hatred of the Symphony of Illumination episode, because how dare they call that a Christmas episode? It's so sad, so depressing. You know exactly the episode I'm talking about if you've seen the show. Like, why would they do Robin like that? But yeah, I like every How I Met Your Mother Christmas episode except for that one. Now, as I mentioned earlier, like I love Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. That's what I grew up on. So I wanted to highlight my favorite Disney Channel holiday episodes as well as my Nickelodeon ones. Starting off with Disney Channel, like the three that I'm always going to watch are Christmas at the Tipton, which is the episode of Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. The Escape Clause, which is an episode of That's So Raven, and I think that one is probably my favorite out of all of like the Disney Channel holiday episodes. And then Austin and Jesse and Allie All Star New Year. This is a crossover episode. It's so good. It's Jesse, Austin, and Allie. They're in New York City on New Year's. Go watch that one if you haven't, because I feel like people probably haven't since it's more like newer, like 2013 or 2014. And yes, I was still watching Disney Channel then, but it's so, so good. And then on Nickelodeon, we have A Christmas Story, which is an episode of Victorious, iChristmas, which is an episode of iCarly, and Big Time Christmas, which is an episode of Big Time Rush. That's the big three for Nickelodeon: iCarly, Victorious, and Big Time Rush. So there's your Christmas playlist for Nickelodeon right there. Super easy. The last television episode that I want to talk about, though, it's not even a holiday episode, but I oddly associate it with the holiday season. And it's because I don't know if you all remember if you grew up watching Disney Channel, but every year on New Year's, they would have it be like this big like watch party on Disney Channel. And they would have sometimes like they would have like members from like different shows or movies. Like I think High School Musical did it one year or Sweet Life did it one year. And like if they have like a movie coming out the next year, like they'll share like behind the scenes or like special clips. It'll be like a lot of Disney doing like sneak peeks to the new shows and movies that are coming out the following year, so you can like get all excited and it's like a countdown to the new year. And then sometimes they would have like actual premieres on New Year's Eve. And so one year, I think it was 2009 or 2008, somewhere around that realm, they had this episode of Wizards of Waverly Place premiere called Make It Happen. I think the storyline was like their dad was telling them that only one of them is going to be able to be a wizard after the competition, so they have to find other potential career paths, and both Alex and Justin decide to start a band. It's that episode, and that one actually premiered on New Year's, and I watched it like on New Year's Eve. I just have some weird like relation to that episode and New Year's, and so I love Wizards of Waverly Place, and that's just an excuse for me to put that episode on every year on New Year's. I always do it. Now, our last section for this episode, it's random pop culture Christmas things that I love. The first thing on my list is tree lightings. This is like very like broad, but I love going to tree lightings. I love seeing the carolers and like the music and like with hot chocolate and then they count down and like boom, the tree. I love doing that. And one year, it was back in 2021, I actually got the chance to go to the Rockefeller tree lighting. And I love doing like touristy New York City things, and I love doing like anything in the city really. I just like have like a full bucket list. But going to that tree lighting is probably the one thing on my bucket list that I did once and was like, I don't have to ever do this again. And like it's just because it was so chaotic. I had like real tickets to this tree lighting. Like I wasn't like standing on the street, but everybody else was. And so it was like a huge headache to try to even get to where I had to check in for my tickets because so many tourists are out there and it's just like so crowded. So many people there. It's just like a hot mess in that entire area. And so we actually ended up being late to get our tickets checked in. And so like I think typically like if you're ticketed, you get to like stand on like the ice rink, the Rockefeller ice skating rink. But because we missed the deadline, they had already filled it. And so we got like sent to the overflow section, which was actually a better spot. We just like couldn't see the performers, but they had screens everywhere and like all of like the Today Show host and like Mario Lopez who was hosting it, they were all like up where we were because we were directly under the tree. And I'd say I was there for the tree lighting. So like I could watch the performances on TV. I think that was the better spot to be. And that was just like so magical to be like right there. It's like so many things that you like grow up watching and then you get to experience it. Like I was saying with like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Like all of these years that was a tradition for me to watch on television and then to be in it and then to be able to go and watch it in person. That's how I felt with the Rockefeller tree lighting. And so that was such a special night for me. But like I said, like it was just like a headache getting there, but it was so much fun. It was such a nice ceremony. And I'll share with you guys my like super VIP looking view of that tree lighting. I have like the best video of it ever. The other random pop culture holiday thing that I love is Jingle Ball. And I think I talked about this in a previous episode, but for those that don't know, Jingle Ball is basically this concert tour that's hosted by iHeartRadio, which is a radio show company, and they have like different stations all across the country. And so each city will kind of host their own like Jingle Ball concert. And the lineup basically is like a bunch of big pop artists and then like also some smaller people that may have had like huge radio hits that year. And this like used to be like so good because it would always have like all of my favorite artists there, plus like artists that like I have a couple of songs that I like but wouldn't want to pay to go see them in a full concert, but I can just go to Jingle Ball and like see a set and hear exactly the songs that I know and want to hear and just be like good with it. And so I've always like loved Jingle Ball, especially cuz like I said like my birthday's in December and the DC one like always used to fall like right before my birthday, like 2 days before, 3 days before. And so I just wanted to like talk a little bit about Jingle Ball and some of like my favorite memories going to those shows because I've gone to quite a few. I will say that Jingle Ball now is not as good as Jingle Ball used to be. And I feel like that's probably why like I'm not going this year, for example, because I just didn't like the lineup and like it went from like, okay, maybe I'd go for free because I like a couple of people on here to like, no, I don't even want to go at all. So yeah, let's like reminisce on when I really liked the lineups. I first wanted to like go to Jingle Ball in like 2014 because that lineup was like so good. It had like Ariana Grande, Shawn Mendes, like a bunch of big names, and so like that's just to tell you like how good like the lineup is. And back then, like I feel like every city used to get like a really strong lineup, but now I feel like it's just like New York and LA gets the big headliners. But my first Jingle Ball that I went to was actually back in 2015. I have the lineup flyer like right here. It was December 14th at the Verizon Center back then. It's now Capital One Arena down here in DC. But it was back then in 2015. My parents actually surprised me with tickets for my birthday because, like I said, it's like a running pattern that I end up going to Jingle Ball for my birthday. Let's look at the lineup because it's kind of like a little time capsule here. I'll start with the bottom row, which are kind of like smaller artists. First up, we had Natalie LaRose. I don't know if you remember her, but she sang the song like Somebody or I Want to Rock with Somebody, something like that. See, I don't even remember, but it was a good song. And so it was nice to see her and see that song because that was a big hit that year, you know? Next was Alessia Cara. I love Alessia Cara still to this day. She has fantastic music, but she was a small artist back then. I think this was like the year that Here blew up. So like this was like her first like really big year. Also on this list is Our City. Do you remember Our City? This is like a quiz, a pop culture quiz. Like, do you remember this song? The big song that Our City had back then, I think it was called Locked Away with Adam Levine. Go back and listen to it. I'm sure it will like definitely ring a bell, but like throwback, right? Also here was Haley Steinfeld. You know, she used to sing. This was like very, very early on, but I think like her hit then was like Love Myself. I know she's had like a lot of other bigger songs like since then, but I think that was like the big song that she had that year. Also on this list was Charlie Puth. This was also when he was pretty fresh, and Tove Lo. I was not really familiar with Tove Lo then, but then like after that concert, I became like kind of like a Tove Lo fan. Then we had Zed. I feel like every year back in the day, like Jingle Ball would always have one DJ. Now they kind of like dropped that pattern, but they always used to have one. And so this year it was Zed. And so that was fun because I used to be a big Zed fan in like 2014, which actually was the year before this now that I think about it. And then the main reasons that I attended this Jingle Ball, Shawn Mendes was there. This was still also kind of like, this was actually like when he had Stitches as a big hit. Like, he had played the Jingle Ball in DC, I remember the year before, and he was like one of the artists that had like a 10-minute set. But this year, he had like one of the headliner sets. Also headlining with Shawn was Demi Lovato. I remember that Demi closed the show. This was like the Cool for the Summer era. This was a time. And then 5 Seconds of Summer, Five Sauce opened the show. I remember this like it was yesterday. This was such a fun concert. I was all the way up in the nosebleeds, having the time of my life. That was my first Jingle Ball. The next Jingle Ball that I went to was actually in 2016, the next year. And this time I got tickets for free. I won them from Hot 99.5, the DC station, by going to my local Giant supermarket. Not my local one, but they posted it. And I went to Giant in DC, just put my name in a box, and I was the first name called. It was so easy. And this one was on Monday, December 12th at the Verizon Center. First of all, it featured a special guest performance by Niall Horan. This was when Niall just had This Town out, like this was his only song, and that was the one song that he sang. What I'm remembering also now that I see like special guest performance written out like this, what's not on this lineup but also was here was Machine Gun Kelly. He also did one song at this Jingle Ball with Camila Cabello. They sang Bad Things together. So it was two like one-off performances there. Then we had Dea, remember her? She had some pretty good songs back then. Tove Lo came again, so I saw her 2 years in a row. Alessia Cara also came again. And then we had Ellie Goulding. This was like the Love Me Like You Do era, so that was like a good time to hear that song live. This year, Diplo was the DJ. Always one DJ. And then we also had Fifth Harmony. And like I said, I'm a huge Fifth Harmony fan. So like that was really fun for me. I think that was probably like one of the main reasons I went was Niall and Fifth Harmony, but also DNCE. I'm so glad I got to see DNCE live because I'm a huge DNCE fan. I'm a huge Joe Jonas fan. I'm a huge Jonas Brothers fan. Put it all together kind of, DNCE. And I don't know if they're ever going to get back together. So like I'm really glad that I got to see them live. Also on here is G-Eazy. I was a pretty big G-Eazy fan back then, not gonna lie. So I was really excited about his performance as well. Although I can't, like, off the top of my head, pinpoint what was his big song then. It might have been Me, Myself, and I. But I feel like that was later than that. So, yeah. G-Eazy was there, though. And he was good. And then the headliner this year was the Chainsmokers. And actually, the Chainsmokers, I think this was during their Closer era. But they also had a song with Dea because I remember they brought out Dea, but I can't remember what that Dea song is. Oh, Don't Let Me Down. I just looked it up. Don't Let Me Down. They sang that together. So that was their song together. But yeah, I'd say 2016 Jingle Ball was good. It wasn't my favorite Jingle Ball that I went to, but like looking back, it was a fun night. The next time I went was 2017. I just went like back to back to back. 2017 Jingle Ball was December 11th. Now at Capital One Arena. And this lineup was really good. This one, I actually won tickets by calling in on the radio, and it came with meet and greet passes. I got to meet Halsey, who was one of the performers on here. And I just remember her being so nice. Like, she, like, actively pursued the conversation with me and my friend. And I feel like a lot of the time meet and greets can be very rushed, but she wasn't rushing at all, and I really appreciated that. I thought that was very nice. Also on this lineup was Why Don't We? Like I said, big Why Don't We fan back then, so I was loving that. Then we had Julia Michaels, if you remember the song Issues, and she's also a huge songwriter. Liam Payne. I was excited about that because I never got to see One Direction live, so I was like slowly checking off my list of seeing each member, seeing Niall the year before at that Jingle Ball, then seeing Liam here. I hadn't even seen Harry yet at this point, so I was like slowly checking off the list. Then I also saw Camila Cabello. She was solo at this point. This was after she left Fifth Harmony. This was like her first like solo era solo album. Charlie Puth came back, and so did Zed. And then we had Logic. I remember Logic was sick though, so he only sang one song, the Suicide song, and that was like it. And then Kesha was also there. I really liked Kesha's performance. I thought she was really great. This was during her praying era. And then I guess like the big headliner, because they're at the top, is Fall Out Boy. And I remember Fall Out Boy being really good because like one, I used to like play their songs in band in middle school, but also I really liked this album that they had at the time, like the Hold Me Tight or Don't Mania era. That was a really good time for them. And so I really enjoyed this Jingle Ball, and getting to do like a meet and greet there, that was also very, very special to me. It was a fun night. Then in 2018, I went back to Jingle Ball again. Each year it gets earlier, I'm looking now. This one was on December 10th, 2018. Same place, Capital One Arena, Washington, D.C. The lineup was Sabrina Carpenter. This was when she was pretty new, actually. Bozzy, that was like mine era, which I'm a pretty big Bozzy fan, and I love that album, so that was fantastic. Then we had BB Rexa, and we also had G-Eazy there again, but BB Rexa and G-Eazy did not perform their song together. We also had NF, which I don't know if you all remember, but he was a rapper. That year he had a couple of pretty big radio hits, which I really liked. Then we also had Meghan Trainor, and then the Chainsmokers again. And then the big headliner was Shawn Mendes. And this is so funny because now I'm realizing like a lot of these artists just like come back year after year. Like 3 of the people on this lineup I saw at a previous Jingle Ball already. So that's pretty interesting. And I won tickets to this one by calling in the station again. It was pretty easy. Then because I went to college in New York City, I did not go to Jingle Ball in 2019. I did go to like the pre-show, but that was the year that Taylor Swift was on the lineup. And so like I literally tried so hard but could not manage to get tickets. So I didn't get to go to that one. But I did go to the pre-show, and that had like Lauv, Why Don't We, and Louis Tomlinson. So I got to check off another member of One Direction. And then the pandemic happened, so I didn't go to another Jingle Ball until 2021. And this was such a good lineup in 2021, which is like surprising because like I kind of like low-key want to blame like the pandemic for the lineups and like the full downsizing of the Jingle Ball tour, because like if you look at this year and last year, like it's just not up to the standard to me that it was in like the mid 2010s. But like you can't blame the pandemic when this was like the 2021 lineup. This was on Tuesday, December 14th. We had Ty Verdes, who was like I think a TikTok singer, Dixie D'Amelio, Bozzy again, Monsta X, which I was a pretty big fan of back then. I really liked their songs like Who Do You Love? They're pretty good. Tate McRae, which I like know she had like a big radio hit back then, You Broke Me First. But I'm actually like a pretty big Tate McRae fan now, and I wasn't then. So it's kind of funny looking back, like I already saw her live and I want to see her live now. But I'm like, now it's because I'm a fan of her, and back then it was just out of coincidence. Now, as I start to like read this lineup, I'm starting to remember like what happened in the 2021 Jingle Ball, which was like very, very bad. But like if you remember in 2021, there was like another like strain of COVID that kind of like spread and shut down stuff everywhere. And so Jingle Ball was not safe from it either. And actually like from the start of this tour, like slowly as the tour went on, because a lot of these artists were going to the same cities together, different artists started getting COVID and dropping out to the point where the tour didn't even finish. Like by the time it got to its last stop, everybody was out, and so they had to cancel it. And so now I'm remembering that. That was like the last time it was good. But yeah, AJR is on the lineup, but they ended up dropping because of COVID by this date. Saweetie was there. She was great. Black Eyed Peas was there. Great. Megan Thee Stallion. Fantastic. Doja Cat was supposed to come, but she was also another person that got COVID and ended up dropping off. But I mean, do you see this lineup? Like, it was so good. All of these artists to DC. Now it would just be like, and New York or LA only. And then the headliners, the Jonas Brothers. So, I had a great time. It was very great. I mean, it was so good it sold out. That's how good it was. And that year I bought tickets because I was in New York, and so I didn't even like really have the opportunity to try to win tickets. And since it was such a good lineup and I knew I wanted to go for my birthday, I was like, this year I'll sit down and buy tickets. So that was the only year that I bought tickets, and probably the last year I ever will, because I just don't foresee myself going to another Jingle Ball because I don't like the recent lineups. But yeah, Jingle Ball used to be like a big deal for me because it was just like a very fun time. I always knew that I could like look forward to it, and it usually ended up being like my favorite concert that I would go to all year. So like the anticipation would be so heavy for those lineups to drop, and it was always such a fun time. So that's definitely one of my favorite pop culture holiday things. That's all for today, though, on our Fan Fave Holiday Special, taking you into a look of my personal playlist and a look into my favorite pop culture things that have to do with the holiday season. As a reminder, this podcast is a hub for all things pop culture. Keep listening to Fan Fave for recaps and breakdowns of the latest in entertainment news, trending topics, and more. As Fan Fave is a bi-weekly podcast, you can expect new episodes every other Tuesday when I'll dive into a different aspect of pop culture. And as a reminder, we're coming to the end of our second season, so we just have one episode left coming up in 2 weeks, so stay tuned. You can also stay in touch and join the Fan Fave community on social media, where I'll be posting additional video content and vlogs from my many adventures and events that I attend in the entertainment world. That's at Fan Fave Media everywhere, so connect with me because I want to interact and hear from all of you, my fellow fans of pop culture. Thanks for listening, and see you soon.